Glacier National Park is about 1 million acres of glaciers, alpine meadows, valleys, and beautiful lakes that was established as a park in 1910. In 1932, Glacier National Park and Waterton Lakes National Park in Alberta, Canada, were designated the Waterton Glacier International Peace Park, becoming the first of its kind. The parks work together in preserving, conserving, and researching within the park. Glacier National Park was formed about 150 million years ago when some of the Earth's plates crashed into western North America, creating mountains. Multiple of these collisions occurred until about 35 million years ago. Then about 20,000 years ago, during the last major glaciation, Glacier National Park would have been completely covered by glaciers, which I know is surprising. These glaciers are responsible for the shapes of many of the valleys and the presence of many of the lakes within the park. Now, about 10,000 years ago, the large amounts of ice covering the park vanished because the Earth was heating. At the time the park was established in 1910, there were about 150 glaciers in the park. Then, as of 2015, there were only about 26 glaciers left in the park. Now, why is this important? Well, glaciers provide water for streams in the summer, which is not only for the wildlife to use, but humans use it too, for agriculture and fire management. And losing the glaciers can also mean the extinction of many species of insects, fish, and plants within the park. Anyway, now that I made you all sad, come along with me and let's go explore some of the flora and fauna of Glacier National Park. First up for Glacier, we have paper birch, which is a medium-sized, fast-growing deciduous tree with grayish-white to orange flaky bark that's adapted to colder climates. This species is usually one of the first to pop up after a fire or other disturbance, but it doesn't stick around because it isn't very tolerant of shade, and once other tree species start moving into an area, paper birch typically dies. Though, while it is present, paper birch produces nutrient-rich leaf litter and many animals will browse the seeds, buds, and bark of the tree. Additionally, this species has very nice leaves and is occasionally used in landscaping. Western hemlock is a coniferous tree that lives in humid areas. The needles are flat, shiny, uneven, glossy, and have a whitish underneath. I like to think of western hemlock as having a very mangy appearance. Ungulates such as deer and elk will browse on this species. Additionally, like paper birch, western hemlock will pop up after a disturbance. However, it can stick around after the other species move in because western hemlock is shade tolerant. Western red cedar is a large shade-tolerant coniferous tree that can grow to be over 60 meters tall. This one I'm showing you is just a baby though. This species can be found in moist places like ravines or stream banks. However, it can also be found on dry rocky slopes. Western red cedar lives a long time, with some trees being found to be over 1,500 years old. But finding ones that old can be difficult because western red cedar lumber is quite valuable. Older trees have a reddish-brown peeling bark that's easy to identify. Additionally, the leaves are a real standout because they're flat and they have fanning scale-like needles that have a white butterfly mark on the underside. Foamflower is a herbaceous perennial that can spread through its rhizomes and can typically be found in moist forests and along stream banks. This species was all over Glacier National Park. The flowers of foamflower are long, white, dainty inflorescences. Bead Lily is a semi-succulent herbaceous perennial that can live for over 30 years and can take up to 4 years to start flowering after emerging from its seed. This is one of my favorite plants I encountered from Glacier National Park. It's very simple but very pretty. With that being said, bead lily can be found growing in shaded areas all the way to full shade. Occasionally, you may find some slugs on these plants because slugs predate on the bead lily. Okay, rock harlequin is also one of my favorites from my time in Glacier. This beautiful pink and yellow flowered plant is found in recently disturbed areas such as dry woods, rocky cliffs, or places that were recently burned. As far as popping up after fires go, rock harlequin will only do so if the seeds are still present in the soil. Fires will kill the plant, but not the seeds. Once the seeds germinate, they are helpful in restoring the area due to their high nutritional content. Pearly everlasting is a herbaceous perennial or biannual that, as its name suggests, has long-lasting yellow to white flowers that look like little asters. Now, before they bloom, which is what I'm showing you right now, we see what we'd perceive as unopened white flower petals, but they're actually white bracts that surround the yellow disc flowers inside. These white bracts will look really pretty before and after the yellow disc flowers have wilted away. Therefore, this species is occasionally used in floral arrangements. Twinflower is a creeping evergreen dwarf shrub, and I was pretty surprised to find out this tiny plant is a shrub. Unlike rock harlequin, Twinflower is a fire avoider, and it, as well as its seeds, will burn in even a low-intensity fire. Twinflower's only defense during a fire is that it may be in a moist area or out of the path of the fire. Plants of this species will re-establish into burned areas through the survivors or through animal seed dispersers. Alright, one of my favorite parts of Glacier was going up to the top of one of the mountains and being at snow level. I was so shocked being up there because there was all this snow, yet it wasn't cold. I even slid around on the snow on my butt and threw some snowballs at some of my friends. But one of the coolest finds at the top of the mountain was the Glacier Lily, which has these beautiful yellow flowers and typically pops up from a corm in open sites after the snow has melted. This species is a very important food source for wildlife. Since it's one of the first to flower in the spring, pollinators love it. Many mammals, including black and grizzly bears, will dig up the nutrient-rich corm or just eat the whole plant. Golden mantled ground squirrels are relatives of chipmunks, and I know it looks just like one, however, it's larger and has a shorter tail. This species lives for about 7 years, and they can dig burrows that are 30 meters long. This ground squirrel is found at all elevations in rocky areas, and it has quite the diverse diet that includes mostly plants and fungi, but also bird eggs, insects, and animal carcasses. These cute little mammals are oftentimes fed by people in the park, even though none of the animals in the park should ever be fed. As you can see, this gold-mantled ground squirrel is feeding on a baby carrot, and I don't think those grow naturally in Glacier National Park. Alrighty, thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed learning about Glacier National Park with me. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in my next video.